Salvete amici, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, hi. My name is Sabrina and I'm a second year classicist at the University of Oxford. So if you're a massive classics nerd like me, or maybe someone who's potentially interested in applying for classics at Oxford, or just curious about my university lifestyle in general, feel free to hit the subscribe button down below and join me on my university journey. Well, hello everyone, welcome back. It's definitely been a hot minute since I last uploaded something, so I'm gonna be surprised and grateful if any of you even click on this video at all. I just wanted to come on here and just film a very quick, chatty, get ready with me for a formal kind of a video because I'm going out to a Somerville formal tonight, but I really haven't filmed anything for the past few months. I've been super burnt out after sitting my first set of exams, so I thought I might as well come on here and actually do like a kind of a life update chat as to what last term was like, because I kind of just dropped off after filming like a move-in video. I kind of just disappeared. Where have I been for the past few months? Well, the answer is here, but not really here. I was doing my first set of real Oxford exams last term, which basically was 2 weeks of hell at the end of term. From 7th to 8th week, we sat about 10 exams, all 3 hours each, just consecutively every single day. So I was really just stressed, like out to the max through that whole term. Yeah, we sat 10 papers, and obviously revision, it was just revision the whole of last term, and the amount of content was insane. Language papers were really difficult. I especially really did think that I was going to fail Greek, which, spoiler alert, I didn't, thank God. I basically just disappeared into the background and tried to just focus on the exams and academic stuff, but it all worked out in the end. I ended up getting a 2-1, which I'm really happy with, and I'm so relieved. I genuinely did think that I would have failed a few of the papers, especially the Greek ones. However, I will say that those exams took a massive toll on my mental and physical health, I would say. I really didn't expect how difficult they would be. I probably should have done, considering I didn't sit exams for the past 2 years because of COVID. And even then, when we were doing our mock exams, we had never really sat them in exam conditions before, so this was like the first time that we'd actually sat in a hall doing proper like handwritten exams since 2020, 2019 maybe. I think it was 2020 because it was in A-level mock time in February or something. But it'd been a long time since I sat any proper exams, because even our mocks were online. We sat our first proper mock exams in person like last term, at the very start of the term, which is like our first experience of actually sitting these exams and how they would be later on in the term. It made you realise like, oh my god, closed book exams are just a completely different breed, and like you kind of taken it for granted for not having to sit them for the past few months or years even. Genuinely, I think these are the hardest set of exams I've ever sat in my life, which, like, you'd think, duh, like it's Oxford, it's supposed to be difficult, but oh my god. Oh my god. The fact that all the exams were so close together really made it so stressful as an experience, because you honestly didn't have time really to revise in between them for the next one, although you kind of had to if you were feeling like slightly unprepared for one or the other. And also it's like the pressure of sitting your first proper set of exams. Like, other people in my year had sat their prelims in first year. Classics is very different because we do our first proper set of exams halfway through our degree, so kind of like in the second term of second year. But even those who'd sat their first year exams had only mostly sat them online. I think it was only the chemists that had sat a few of them in person, like closed book. So we really were like the first people to go back to normal exam conditions. Let me tell you, sitting exams in Oxford, it's a strange experience. I really felt like that that shift of going from like, oh, like I'm doing really well at school, like I can just kind of get away with doing slightly less work, to Oxford where it was like, if you don't put in the work, then you really do feel the consequences. And especially like going from feeling like you are good at something or good at your subject to and top of the class, to feeling, well, quite mediocre, if not even just terrible, because there's so many like amazingly talented people around you that you're just sometimes like, oh my god, how are these people just getting these languages so quickly, or how are these people just memorizing all this information so quickly? And I think I've definitely always been someone who's had to work harder than, say, someone who's got just an incredible memory, because I don't necessarily have that as much. That's just how life is. There's always going to be someone that's better than you, and it's kind of how you face up to that a little bit. But it's definitely been a humbling experience, that's for sure. Coming to terms with the fact that something that I really love, like I do love classics a lot, but I'm not necessarily the best at it in my year. If anything, I'm actually quite slap bang in the middle. For me, like for example, I've made this channel about classics, like I've done TikToks about classics outreach and stuff. It's been a little bit humbling. And you have to kind of come to terms with certain facts. Like I don't know at the moment if I'd still want to pursue something like an academic career, because on a serious level, like I genuinely don't know if I would be good enough, because I'm in the middle of my year group. I'm not the best, say, and like the best are the ones that go on to actually be like the academics mostly. There's all these people that are way better than me at it, so what does this mean for me? And I was really convinced that I was going to fail, but I didn't, which was just such a relief. And I think that impression came about because at my college, my year group for classics is incredibly strong, and they are so talented and so clever, so that I felt like, because I was obviously in classes with those people, and in a way you're almost comparing yourself to them because you're in classes with them and you're seeing, you know, how each other perform, I was like, I'm failing. I'm getting kicked out. Like how am I here? These people are incredible, they're amazing. And so when we all did our exams, I was so convinced that I was going to fail, because like I was worse than these people in a lot of ways, like definitely in some cases in terms of like language skills and things. But when I actually sat the exams, I realised, oh wait, this is not indicative of the rest of the year group, because I think in classics at Oxford there's like 120 or something people, maybe slightly less, across the whole university, and for my college there's 6 of us. But within those 6 people, 50% managed to get first in the end. So it was really reassuring in a way when you sat those exams, like finding out that actually the standard that I've been comparing myself the whole time since I've been here at university was in fact much higher than like the average across the whole year group. And that was kind of reassuring, because it meant, oh wait, like I'm not actually terrible, I'm not going to fail, I'm just not quite on the level of these people yet, and that's okay. But I'm by no means the worst in the year, which was such a relief. You're worrying about imposter syndrome and failing, and you know, thinking that why am I here? I'm just so, this must have been a mistake almost, because I'm not as great as these other people. Oxford exams are just a whole nother kettle of fish. Like the way that you'd go to the library every single day and you'd spend all day in the library pretty much, and you'd come out, well, everyone had like different working times, right? But usually, I think for me, I went into the library at around 10 AM and I'd leave at midnight. Obviously you have some like a few breaks in between because you're eating food, and then, you know, you need to take some like admin things, or you need to go on some kind of like mental health walks or something to just try and keep yourself sane. You just eat, breathe, sleep the library essentially. Like you are just there and you're just trying to work, and everyone else is trying to work around you. So even if you don't work, then you panic because you're like, oh my god, everyone else is working. Like I think it really put pressure on everyone, and everyone showed, you know, signs of distress in different ways. I think I realized I'm just really grumpy. Like this is a public apology to everyone who had to experience me last term, because I was not I was not a nice person to talk to. I was just miserable and stressed out and just sensitive and grumpy. I'll emphasize that one again. We managed to get through it. We sat those exams, but yeah, it was definitely interesting to see how everyone reacts differently to that kind of stress. And another thing I'm not sure if people actually do know about exams at Oxford is that we have like quite quirky traditions where essentially we have to, for example, wear our subfusk, which I'm not sure if you've seen on this channel before, but it's essentially like official academic dress, which includes like the gown that I've shown you before when I've been filming formals, but also like it's like a school uniform in a way. Like the boys have to wear a suit, girls can choose to wear trousers or skirt. Most of the time it has to be like a white blouse, a black ribbon, a skirt, and tights, and like school shoes with this gown over the top. But not only that, you also have to wear carnations depending on which exam that you're sitting. And yes, I do mean carnations as in the flower carnations, which I actually think is one of my favourite Oxford traditions. Essentially, you have your college parent or someone else in your year, or your friends in general, will buy you your exam carnations, which are red, white and pink. And these are different flowers that you wear for different exams. So if you're sitting your first exam, you will wear a white carnation, and then for every single exam in between that and your last exam, you'll wear a pink carnation, and then for your final exam you wear your red carnation, which I find kind of funny because it's very symbolic of like your life's blood draining out into your studies as you progress through these exams. But it's kind of nice to see the flowers every single day, so that's a tradition that I do like. And then at the end of these exams we have something called trashing, which the university has tried to ban, and I do understand why, but it's also a big student tradition where once you finished your exams, your friends will wait for you outside the exam hall. They'll spray you with champagne or Prosecco, if we're being, you know, on the student budget, Prosecco most likely, silly string, shaving foam, confetti, all sorts of things, and trash you. And it's a massive celebration. And then afterwards, after you've been trashed, usually, and you've taken all your photos, usually you jump into a river with all your course mates, and it's very cathartic, cleansing yourself from these exams, and that you're now free, which is such a relief, I cannot even tell you. And the best thing about having sat exams at Oxford is that the next term you don't have any mock exams to start with. So we literally arrived this term with no mock exams. Week 0 was essentially just hanging out with friends, going out, which was really fun, and just doing the reading for the first week of term for our essays without having to worry about revising for mock exams as well. So I guess those are the kind of fun elements to the exams, as much fun as there can be. Oh, apart from the fact that the exam schools are insanely beautiful. They are genuinely, like, they look like ballrooms. They're so beautiful, which is actually a pro when you have to sit an exam every day for 2 weeks. At least your surroundings are nice, I guess. That kind of ends the fun aspects of the exams, and I've complained a little bit about the negative aspects already, but also so many people got so ill after those exams, and that tells you just like how stressed people were. It's just, I mean, I personally, I got home from uni and I just like, I was ill with what I think eventually turned out to be like a kidney infection of some sort, but like the doctors didn't really know what it was, but I think it may have been related to stress, which they kind of suggested as well, because obviously your body's coming down from this massive adrenaline rush, you know, you're on those like highs of just pure like work hours and no real relaxation time, like, and like I know everyone's like, take your time to look after yourself, self-care, look after yourself, but realistically I think that's like a brilliant idea, but in practice I think it's a lot harder to achieve when you're in a really high pressured environment. And I definitely think that I didn't necessarily look after myself as best as I could last term. I really think I should have done probably more exercise as a de-stressor. I don't really want to blame myself too much about like not eating healthily enough to try and like fuel my brain, because I think I did a decent job of that, but I really do think that exercise wise, like I didn't really have that like de-stressor element, which could have helped a lot maybe. It's always in your head that during revision time you're like, no, I don't have time to exercise, which is just inherently stupid, because you know, you could make yourself way more productive if you actually take care of yourself. And I always think about this later and then never put it into practice at the time, so massive hypocrite here. Oh, but there's one super toxic thing that Oxford does do, which I fundamentally do disagree with, is that, so obviously you get your grades as like most other universities do, I think, and I'm not sure if other universities do this as well, where they will rank you in your year group. Even though you might have the exact same grade as someone else, Oxford still finds a way to put you against each other academically, and I'm just not sure what actually they're trying to achieve, because I feel like Oxford's already competitive enough anyway that people are trying to get, you know, the top grades, that they don't really need the added pressure of being ranked in their year group from 1 to 120 or something like that, especially because there's only 3 or 4 grades that you can end up getting, and you could have the exact same grade as someone. Yeah, sure, you don't have the exact same percentage, but you have, at the end of the day, you have the same grade as someone, so then you being ranked further is just so like unnecessary in my opinion. People already differentiated between 2-1s firsts, 2-2s, 2-1s, and then thirds and 2-2s. I don't really understand what the need is, apart from, I guess, the person who is top of the year. Like, that's a cool thing for them. For the rest of us, it's just kind of unhelpful, apart from maybe seeing, again, like I said, seeing where you are within the year group. But I think you can do that anyway with just telling the amount of people that get a certain grade, and then you can roughly work out where you are, rather than having an individual numbering system which puts everyone in a row. But at least they didn't pull a Cambridge and put those results outside the exam scores for everyone to see. At least it's just online and personal, and I guess you can choose whether or not to look at them. Probably for the vast majority of people it doesn't really affect them, even if I kind of fundamentally disagree with it, but whatever, it's fine. I won't have my proper exams now until the summer of 4th year, which is a while away. But going away after these exams, I now think I know better what's expected of me, and like how to handle that experience, that high intensity experience, and also even gauging like an idea of what an Oxford cohort actually looks like in practice, and where I sit in it roughly when it comes to exams. But yeah, that's my little ramble about Hilary and exam term over. Hopefully it didn't come across as so negative. Like, I'm always worried that when I speak about these things it's just gonna sound like I'm just constantly complaining, which I am to a certain extent, but also I don't want to put people off and just think that everything is terrible and everything is awful. But I do think it's important to highlight the realities of Oxford beyond just like this gilded glamorous facade, in particular in terms of academics and, you know, internal pressure, external pressure from tutors, colleges, etc, etc. I've also realised that I really have not made much progress on my makeup because I've just been too busy chatting, so I probably need to actually focus on doing that. I'm gonna probably turn this off in a second. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of the day. I hope you have a lovely productive rest of the day, and I'll see you soon. Bye!